I condemn and disavow the alt-right and their violent, racist actions on Saturday in Charlottesville, Virginia. And so does President Trump. So how many times does he have to repeat himself until the media finally accept that? And is it so wrong to acknowledge what was in plain sight on Saturday? Radical left-wing Antifa using black bloc tactics and committing acts of violence, as they seem to have been doing non-stop since at least Trump's election, if not even further back into the Republican primary. If you missed it, here was a little sample of what was once again a glorious Trump versus the fake news media press conference from Trump Tower yesterday.
As I said on, remember this, Saturday, we condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. And then I went on from there. Now, here's the thing. Excuse me. Take it nice and easy. Here's the thing. When I make a statement, I like to be correct. I want the facts. This event just happened. In fact, a lot of the event didn't even happen yet as we were speaking. This event just happened. Before I make a statement, I need the facts. So I don't want to rush into a statement.
Can someone please explain to me what exactly was wrong with that statement? Aren't these journalists who demanded the president make a comment as the violence from the alt-right neo-Nazis and the alt-left communists was still going on without all the facts, the exact same journalists who every single time there is a terrorist attack around the world demand we withhold judgment or insinuation that it was radical Islamic terror responsible until all the facts are out? Even then, it's still hashtag not all Muslims. With that in mind, I'm not here to say hashtag not all alt-right or not all whites, because that is the exact same kind of denialism the left and the media display time after time. But certainly, the media freaked out over Trump pointing out what we've all seen the past 6 months. Radical Antifa using violence and black bloc tactics as an end to their means. And that was the highlight of the press conference for me yesterday.
What about the alt-left that came charging at the, as you say, the alt-right? Do they have any semblance of guilt?
Let
me ask you this. What about the fact that they came charging with clubs in their hands, swinging clubs? Do they have any problem? I think they do. So, as far as I'm concerned, that was a horrible, horrible day. Wait a minute. I'm not finished. I'm not finished, fake news. That was a horrible day.
The same level as
I will tell you something. I watched those very closely, much more closely than you people watched it. And you have, you had a group on one side that was bad, and you had a group on the other side that was also very violent. And nobody wants to say that, but I'll say it right now. You had a group on the other side that came charging in without a permit, and they were very, very violent.
This was the commentary from the president that sent the media into a frenzy. As you know, the media has refused to cover, acknowledge, or condemn radical left-wing rioting and Antifa actions ever since Trump was elected. And as I said, it goes back even before that. So it should be no surprise that they completely melted down in the aftermath of those comments. The fact of the matter is, all the president was doing yesterday was defending both the truth and the Constitution of the United States, something the left has forgotten about long ago since they took up the cause of identity politics and intersectionality. Here's a Canadian reporter, a freelancer named Tim Harper, tweeting, quote, "Trump says neo-Nazis had a permit. Well, that changes everything," unquote. Well, yes, actually, Tim Harper, it does. And the left and their institutions once knew this and stood up for the constitutionally defended rights of even the most vile and racist people in the country. In 1977, the Nazi Party of America won a Supreme Court case earning their right under the First Amendment to march with Nazi imagery and the swastika flag. The Supreme Court ruled that the swastika itself did not represent, quote, fighting words, and the Nazis were allowed to march. Even the ACLU, yes, that same ACLU of today, took up the case on behalf of the American Nazi Party defending their rights. Do you think a single fake news journalist is even aware of this case? Of course not. The left and the modern media trample on the US Constitution, and we know that. The left, and in particular the far-left Marxists you see joining the ranks of Antifa, also want to trample on history and purge it Mao Zedong style from the pages of US classrooms. This is coming to a head with the tearing down of Confederate monuments. And while Trump was once again mocked by the press for this statement, he is bang on. Where does it end?
but many of those people were there to protest the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. So this week it's Robert E. Lee. I noticed that Stonewall Jackson's coming down. I wonder, is it George Washington next week? And is it Thomas Jefferson the week after? You know, you really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?
That commentary was, of course, mocked by know-nothing cosmopolitan journalists. But is it really that off base? Social justice warriors have lamented Thomas Jefferson for years, given he was a slave owner. So, of course, students at the University of Virginia, the university Jefferson founded, want any quotes of his banned from lectures. And some even want the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C. torn down and renamed. And even crazier, craziest of all, some social justice warriors want to rename the city of Washington, D.C. and the state of Washington because George Washington was a slave owner. Where does it stop? For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. I'll tell you, we're never going to stop, even if the censors at Google come after us by cracking down on right-wing content on YouTube. And to do that, we're going 100% independent, designing our very own app for you, our loyal viewers. But we need your help. We need you to chip in at theycan'tstopus.com. Anything you can provide us, we are totally grateful for.